Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The Miami Dolphins have stirred the quarterback waters once again, and this time, it's not just about grooming stars or managing cap space. It's about depth, potential, and a touch of legacy. On Thursday, the Dolphins made headlines by signing Brett Gabbert, a name that might ring a bell not just because of his college stats, but also due to his familial ties to the NFL. To make room for the rookie, the team waived edge rusher William Bradley King, signaling a shift in roster priorities as the offseason intensifies. Gabbert had been a quiet presence at the team's rookie minicamp, attending on a tryout basis just under 2 weeks ago. Apparently, what Miami saw then, they liked enough to act now. While some might find the timing curious, there's a strategic layer to it. Teams often wait before finalizing decisions post-minicamp, especially when balancing developmental upside with immediate needs. Gabbert's journey to the NFL isn't a meteoric rise, but rather a steady, grinding march from Miami. University of Ohio, the same college that once molded Ben Roethlisberger. Over 6 seasons, Brett Gabbert etched his name into Red Hawks history, starting an impressive 53 games and compiling a stat sheet that deserves more than just a passing glance. Completing 788 passes out of 1,331 attempts, he amassed 10,114 yards, 80 touchdowns, and 30 interceptions. That kind of consistency over that kind of span says a lot about his durability and football IQ. It's not every day you find a quarterback who's third all-time in passing yards at a Division I program, trailing only legends like Roethlisberger and Zach Dysert. Gabbert's collegiate record reflects a player who's more than just a system guy. He's someone who could be molded into a reliable pro backup or more, but stats don't tell the whole story. Brett Gabbert showed mobility. Recording 294 rushing attempts for 482 yards and 8 touchdowns. Sure, he's not a Lamar Jackson type, but his ability to move when needed adds a layer of dual threat capability that many coaches value in today's NFL. His accolades speak volumes about his work ethic. 3-time All-MAC selection and 4-time academic All-MAC honoree. That tells you this kid doesn't just show up. He studies, he prepares, and he adapts. That's the kind of player who, even if he doesn't crack the final 53-man roster this season, could stick around on a practice squad or find a home in another system down the line. And let's not forget he's the younger brother of Blaine Gabbert, an NFL journeyman who's carved out a lengthy career as a backup. If there's a blueprint for staying power in this league, Brett has seen it firsthand. So what does this mean for the Dolphins quarterback room? Well, things just got a little more crowded and a little more interesting. With Tua Tagovailoa entering the season as the undisputed starter and Zach Wilson trying to find his footing again after a turbulent run with the Jets, the Dolphins are already juggling narratives. Add rookie Quinn Ewers, their 7th round pick, and now Gabbert to the mix, and you've got a camp battle that could offer a few plot twists. It's common for NFL teams to carry 4 quarterbacks in the offseason, especially when evaluating who can handle scout team duties, who's ready for developmental grooming, and who might be the emergency break glass option. But 4 quarterbacks also means someone is likely the odd man out once September rolls around. Gabbert's late signing does raise a few eyebrows. If the Dolphins were impressed by his minicamp showing, why wait nearly 2 weeks to make it official? The answer could lie in roster logistics, or perhaps in how other moves panned out. After all, teams juggle more than just talent evaluations this time of year. Cap space, injury updates, and shifting depth chart priorities can all play a role. Plus, with Gavin Hardison recently signed and waived within days, right after Tua agreed to his contract extension, the Dolphins clearly aren't afraid to shuffle the QB deck to see what combinations might stick. This is the front office that wants options. And in Gabbert, they're getting a low-risk, potentially high-reward option who has already earned the respect of coaches during his short tryout window. Let's talk for a second about the man who made room for Gabbert, William Bradley King. While he's not exactly a household name, Bradley King had been hanging around the Dolphins practice squad, hoping for a chance to stick. A former draft pick by Washington, he played in 4 regular season games but none since 2022. By all accounts, he was always a long shot to make this year's 53-man roster. Waiving him isn't so much a knock on his talent as it is a reflection of positional priority. Edge rushers are plentiful, and Miami has invested heavily in that position over the past few seasons. With veterans and promising younger players already ahead of him on the depth chart, the writing was on the wall. In contrast, quarterbacks with starting experience in college, especially ones with a known football pedigree, are harder to come by. And let's not forget the bigger picture here. The Dolphins are in a window where they need to find stability at quarterback beyond Tua. Injuries have haunted him, and while the front office remains committed, they know the value of having reliable insurance policies. Zach Wilson is a reclamation project, and Quinn Ewers is still very much a raw prospect. Gabbert doesn't arrive with flashy credentials, but he does bring 6 years of college experience, a deep understanding of offensive schemes, and a reputation for being coachable. These are the intangibles that often go unnoticed during training. Camp cuts, but they matter when injuries hit mid-season or when you need someone to execute a clean 2-minute drill in a pinch. The Dolphins might just be hedging their bets here, and wisely so. It's also worth highlighting the connection Gabbert has with Dolphins offensive coordinator Frank Smith, who, like Gabbert, attended Miami of Ohio. There's something to be said about shared alumni pride and institutional familiarity. Coaches tend to gravitate toward players who understand their language, literally and figuratively. This bond might give Gabbert a subtle edge in understanding the playbook or getting a fair shake in reps during training camp. The learning curve for NFL quarterbacks is steep, especially for late signees. But even the smallest edge can mean the difference between sticking and getting cut. If Smith sees a bit of himself or recognizes a similar football foundation, in Gabbert, it could translate into trust, opportunity, and perhaps even mentorship. Ultimately, this move may fly under the radar for many fans, but it's the kind of signing that could make a quiet impact come preseason. The NFL is a league of attrition, and backup quarterbacks are more important than ever. Miami is clearly hedging its bets, ensuring they have enough arms to get through training camp while also keeping an eye on future development. Gabbert may not light up the scoreboard in August, but don't be surprised if he earns praise for his command of the huddle, accuracy in short yardage scenarios, or ability to absorb the playbook quickly. Those are the building blocks of a long NFL career, even for a guy who starts at the bottom of the depth chart. As the Dolphins continue shaping their roster ahead of training camp, Brett Gabbert's signing adds a new wrinkle to what's already one of the more intriguing quarterback rooms in the league. Whether he sticks or not, he's already proven something important. When given a small window of opportunity, he can make the most of it. And in the NFL, that's often the only shot you get. For Gabbert, the journey is just beginning, and for Miami, the move is another small step in building a roster that's ready for anything. Keep an eye on this kid. He might just surprise you. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments what's your take on the Fins this week. The NFL world is absolutely shaking today. One of the biggest defensive stars in the league, Nick BOSA, has just made a blockbuster move that no one saw coming. That's right, Nick BOSA has officially signed with the Miami Dolphins, and he's already sending out a chilling warning to every offense in the league. He's coming to bring terror like never before. After years of dominating with the San Francisco 49ers, helping push them deep into playoff runs, BOSA has now packed his bags for South Beach, ready to don the teal and orange and change the face of the Dolphins' defense. This signing is easily one of the most sensational free agent moves in recent NFL history. And trust me, Dolphins fans are already losing their minds with excitement. But what does this mean for Miami? And why is BOSA so determined to unleash havoc? Let's dive deep. First off, let's talk about Nick BOSA's reputation. This is not just any defensive player. This is a former Defensive Player of the Year, a multiple-time Pro Bowler, and arguably the most feared pass rusher in the league right now. His ability to read offensive lines, burst through blocks, and absolutely demolish quarterbacks has made him a living nightmare for offensive coordinators across the NFL. Over his years with the 49ers, BOSA racked up an incredible number of sacks, tackles for loss, and game-changing plays that have earned him universal respect. And now, all of that ferocity, all that elite level skill is heading to Miami, a team that has been desperately seeking that missing piece on defense to finally push them over the edge into true Super Bowl contention. This isn't just a signing, it's a statement from the Dolphins that they are done playing around. The Miami Dolphins have been building something special over the last few seasons. With their high-powered offense led by Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle, they've become one of the most electrifying teams to watch. But there was always that lingering question about their defense. Sure, they've had solid players and good schemes, but they lacked that one dominant force. Someone who could change the outcome of a game with a single play. Enter Nick BOSA. His arrival in Miami instantly upgrades their defense to elite status. The Dolphins now possess a player who not only demands double teams, but also elevates the play of everyone around him. You can bet that opposing quarterbacks are already circling their games against Miami in red ink, knowing they'll have to face BOSA's relentless pressure all game long. In his first press conference as a Miami Dolphin, BOSA didn't mince. Our words. Standing confidently at the podium, wearing his new Dolphins jersey, he made it crystal clear. I'm here to bring terror to every offense in this league. That quote has already gone viral across social media, sparking memes, fan art, and a wave of hype that has completely engulfed the Dolphins fan base. BOSA spoke passionately about his excitement for this new chapter, praising the Dolphins coaching staff and expressing his belief that Miami is on the brink of something special. He also mentioned how the vibrant culture of South Florida and the passionate fan base played a big role in his decision. But more than anything, he's motivated by the opportunity to cement his legacy by leading this team to championship glory. BOSA's message is clear. He's not just coming to play. He's coming to dominate. From a tactical standpoint, this move is a dream come true for Dolphins defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver. Imagine the possibilities. With BOSA now anchoring the defensive line, Miami can get far more creative with their blitz packages and coverage schemes. BOSA's mere presence forces offenses to adjust, often allocating extra blockers or chipping him with tight ends and running backs, which opens up lanes for other defenders to make plays. Miami's secondary, already bolstered with star talents like Jalen Ramsey and Jevon Holland, will now have even more opportunities for interceptions as quarterbacks rush their throws under BOSA's pressure. It's the kind of synergy coaches dream about, an elite pass rush complementing a ball-hawking secondary. This could very well make Miami's defense one of the most feared units in the entire NFL, capable of shutting down both the pass and the run with ruthless efficiency. On the business side of things, the contract details are just as jaw-dropping as the signing itself. Reports indicate that BOSA's deal with the Dolphins is a record-setting 5-year contract worth upwards of $170 million with $120 million guaranteed. That's right, folks. This makes Nick BOSA not just the highest paid defensive player in Dolphins history, but also one of the richest defenders in NFL history, period. And honestly, it's money well spent. Players of BOSA's caliber don't hit free agency often, and when they do, you move heaven and earth to bring them in. Dolphins general manager Chris Grier pulled off an absolute masterstroke here, outbidding several other contenders rumored to be in the mix, including the Chicago Bears and the New York Jets. This move sends a clear message to the rest of the league. The Dolphins are all in on winning right now. But what about the ripple effect across the AFC East? The division just got a whole lot more competitive and a whole lot scarier. Think about it. Josh Allen and the Bills, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, and now a Miami defense with Nick BOSA terrorizing opposing quarterbacks. Every divisional matchup just became must-see TV. The Dolphins' rivalry games are going to be absolute wars in the trenches. And with BOSA on board, Miami might finally have the defensive firepower to not only win the division but also make a deep playoff run. For years, critics have argued that Miami lacked the toughness and defensive grit needed to compete at the highest level, especially in cold weather playoff games. But now, with BOSA setting the tone, that narrative could be about to change in a big way. The Dolphins are no longer underdogs. They're legitimate contenders. Of course, there's also the emotional aspect of this move. Leaving the 49ers... Being of the 49ers was not an easy decision for BOSA. He spent his entire professional career there up until now, forging bonds with teammates, coaches, and fans who adored him. San Francisco was home, and many expected BOSA to finish his career there. But football is a business, and ultimately BOSA felt that Miami offered the best opportunity for him both professionally and personally. He acknowledged in his press conference how grateful he was for his time in the Bay Area, thanking the 49ers organization and fan base for their unwavering support. But now, his focus is solely on the future, a future where he envisions himself hoisting a Lombardi trophy in a Dolphins uniform. It's a bold new chapter for one of the league's most dominant defensive forces, and he's embracing it with open arms. The fan reaction to BOSA's signing has been nothing short of euphoric. Within minutes of the news breaking, Dolphins fans flooded social media with celebratory posts, jersey mock-ups, and even some hilarious memes of BOSA riding a dolphin through the Miami surf. Season ticket sales spiked almost instantly, with many fans eager to witness this new era of Dolphins football in person. The energy around the team is electric, and for good reason. For a franchise that's been searching for defensive icons since the days of Jason Taylor and Zach Thomas, Nick BOSA feels like the modern-day answer. A player who can rally the fan base, strike fear into opponents, and redefine the team's identity. Miami is buzzing, the NFL is on notice, and the countdown to the season just got a whole lot more intense. As for BOSA himself, he's already hard at work. Sources close to the team report that he's been spending hours at the Dolphins training facility, getting familiar with the playbook, and building chemistry with his new teammates. He's been seen working closely with fellow pass rushers Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, forming what could be the most dangerous defensive front in the entire league. Coaches have praised BOSA's professionalism and leadership, noting that even though he's new to the team, he's already setting the tone in practice with his relentless work ethic. And you better believe that BOSA is circling those key matchups on his calendar, the ones where he can make a statement against the league's elite quarterbacks. If his track record is any indication, those quarterbacks better be ready to run for their lives. So there you have it, folks. The Miami Dolphins have officially landed one of the biggest game changers in all of football. Nick BOSA is now a Dolphin, and he's promising to unleash absolute terror on every offense that dares line up against him. This is a transformative moment for the Dolphins franchise and a massive shift in the NFL landscape. The 2025 season just got a whole lot more exciting, and I, for one, cannot wait to see how this all plays out. Will BOSA lead Miami to their first Super Bowl since the glory days of the 1970s? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, defenses beware, because Nick BOSA is coming and he's bringing the storm with him. Stay tuned, smash that like button and subscribe for more updates on this wild NFL offseason. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up!